nearby a town called Erpitz. Yep. There's a scenic place up here on the lake. And we are about 131 kilometers north of Bautzen. Oh, get some of them wind farms. How about this wind turbine up here?
Yeah, I see those wind turbines. There are heaps of these along the road.
Yeah.
Maxie has just woken up and he's pretty unhappy, so we're going to stop.
Yes.
So we're driving through the village of Ortrand.
Ortrand.
Oh, Ortrand. We're looking for a stop because Maxie's going mental.
There was a pause. I would prefer if we could speak in person. Perhaps coffee?
Golden canola fields. On loco.
Yeah. We're on our approach into Bautzen.
Bautzen, Upper Lusatia Historic Region in the state of Saxony, Germany. Bautzen in the historic Upper Lusatia region, the state of Saxony, on a Sunday evening in spring. So just so you get an idea of layout, here's a basic map of Bautzen. The orange circle is where we are, which is close to the hotel. So that is just to the west of the city centre, and the River Spree runs past Bautzen. Walking down Scharfenweg, heading east towards the hotel and Bautzen city centre. Now this is cobbled streets, of course, very common in a lot of medieval European towns. But when you're pushing a stroller, it's not the best conditions for it, so I'm actually often carrying the stroller folded up. This is the Hotel Alta Gerbere that we're staying, Bautzen. And we're going to walk over the River Spree and have a look at the city centre.
Hotel room. It's like a beautiful little boutique hotel. This is Mummy and Maxie's room. And bathroom.
Part of the dining area at the Hotel Alta Gerbere. Notice the crockery and sword style, very nice. So this is the cold cuts they're serving in the morning for breakfast. And the breakfast board in general. So the bread they bake fresh here. Another type of freshly baked bread. This is the courtyard at the Hotel Alta Gerbere. This is the courtyard at the Hotel Alta Gerbere. Very pretty garden at the Hotel Alta Gerbere. This is the River Spree outside of Bautzen. So there's the hotel again, Hotel Alta Gerbere. It continues on. Along Herringstrasse. We're just heading towards the city centre now. Still a bit uphill. This is the Wasserturm under renovation right now as we approach the central area of Bautzen. So this is St. Peter's Church in central Bautzen. City Hall. So this is the Hauptmarket. Now while I'm here, I should tell you that Bautzen, located in this historic area of Upper Lusatia in Saxony state, is the unofficial historic capital of the region Upper Lusatia and the most important cultural center of the Sorbs. Sorbs arrived during the 6th century AD, and they're a West Slavic people inhabiting their homeland in Lusatia between Germany and Poland. Sorbs are linguistically and genetically closest to Czechs and Poles. Reichenstrasse, and on Reichenstrasse you can buy schmucks here. And in front of us is the Reichenstern, which is the Leaning Tower of Bautzen, as it's called. Corn Market Square, near the Bautzen Museum. This is the Schulerstern, down Schulerstrasse. As we stroll down Brettengasse, I will tell you, it says here that Bautzen, the city in Upper Lusatia with over 1,000 years of history, is one of the most charming medieval cities in Germany. 17 towers and bastions built originally to protect the old trades are among the roughly 1,300 historically important buildings and monuments, proudly beckoning from their splendid granite plateau. Massive walls high over the Spree Valley signify both the self-confidence and self-defense of the days of old. War and blight left the mark, but the diligent people of Bautzen were able to rebuild their proud city in new splendor. The Germans and the Sorbs, a Slavic minority indigenous to the region with their own unique culture, have lived here together for centuries. Every year thousands of tourists come to experience the Easter horseback processions or see how elaborately decorated Sorb Easter eggs are made. So all the signs they have around here are in German and the Sorb language. Restaurant will dine first night. We're in Bautzen, recommended by good family friend of the Pecks, Wolfgang. So here we are at the restaurant Belgic, and they've given Maxi a Sorb colouring in chart. Very nice. Restaurant Belgic, and the waitresses are dressed in Sorb traditional dress. So let's have a look at the menu and see what traditional Sorb food is. Here are the starters.
It's the house aperitif with strawberry and rhubarb essence, and they top it up with prosecco.
Excellent. Asparagus mousse. Most delicious. This is Sorb wedding soup with egg pus, meatballs and vegetable strips. St. Marienthaler Rostenbrau, dark beer. This is the Sorbian wedding meal with boiled beef, horseradish sauce, root vegetables served with bread or parsley potatoes. So we've got parsley potatoes and we've got bread over here. Now the other one we've got here is called 5 Lusacian Deliciousness with fish mousse, grilled goat cheese, smoked duck breast, meat in aspic, ear rissoles on a salad plate. This is Clara Zetkenstrasse, the main bridge of Bautzen over the river Spree. And there's the river down there, and there's our hotel. We're looking south here along the river Spree, And then we're approaching on the left as we pan to Bautzen city centre. Right. So this is Einbahnstraße, just over the river Spree to the west of Bautzen city centre. So, to know Bautzen's exports carry the name to far corners of the world. For example, light rail vehicles, church organs, and the famous Bautzen mustard, ranging from spicy to sweet. Some of the gardens along Einbahnstraße. So this is Hochkirch. This is where Johann Peck lived with his first wife and attended services as well.
That
Blutgasse.
Blutgasse.
Yep, the blood alley translated. The cannonballs in the wall of the Hochkirch from the Battle of Hochkirch, which was 1812, 1813 thereabouts, in the Napoleonic Wars. Graves at the Hochkirch.
Austrian soldiers and soldiers from Prussia.
Aha. And that was at this area.
But this has nothing to do with Napoleon.
No. That was a three days. On the way into Bautzen. Notice any similarities to home? Johann Peck's old house here in Bautzen.
They told us everything. That she showed us some photos of the old barn.
Wow.
And
the house where Johann Peck lived with his first wife in Bautzen. There's the hire car again. And the neighbour. Look how neatly they have stacked all that wood. It's down the street from where Johann lived. Crop fields on the way from Bautzen to Uelitz. Wolfgang's driving at the moment and he's getting annoyed because he's trying to overtake this old school tractor and it's proving very difficult on these windy roads. This is Gross Poswitz from far. This is Eulewitz, the last place Johann Peck lived before moving to Australia. This pond here is where the Peck descendants, as a tradition, have their photos taken. So Rufus Peck did some research and believes that one of these places, or this site, is where Johann Peck lived before moving to Australia. Gross Poswitz Church. The altar at Gross Poswitz Church. Johannes Peck's pews here at Gross Poswitz Church. So, Wolfgang was confirmed in 1962.
that's one.
Yep, that's him just there. Handsome lad. Hauptstrasse through Gross Poswitz. Restaurant Zum Echten, where we're having lunch on this Sunday. Some local fare. I think I'm going to get this schnitzel dish. Schnitzel, potato croquettes, boiled potato, and crumb fish. Okay, as I walk along Eibenstrasse, I'll just tell you a bit more about the Sorbs as a recognized minority in Germany. So in Germany, 4 officially recognized autonomous ethnic minorities have been living there for centuries. They include the Danes in the south, North Friesens to the northwest of Schleswig-Holstein, the Sinti Roma, and the Sorbs. The hereditary home of today's about 60,000 Sorbs can be found in Upper Lusatia, in the eastern part of the Free State of Saxony, and in Lower Lusatia in southeastern Brandenburg. In addition, there are many, mainly young Sorbs living in other states of Germany. Okay, as we walk along Seminarstrasse in Bautzen, I'll tell you a little bit about when Sorbs lost their independence. So in 631, Franconian chronicler Frederer called the Sorbian tribes living between the rivers Saal and Mulda Sorbi in Latin, referring to their prince as Derwin. Socially, the Serbs at the time were undergoing a transition phase from large families and military democracy to early feudalism. Emperor Charles the Great tried to subdue the Sorbs. In 1806, Sorbian peasant army under Prince Milidich was defeated by the Franks at Warnenfeld near Gera. The planned large-scale conquest of the Elbe Slav areas by the German feudal state began in 921 under King Henry I. Despite brave resistance and repeated rebellions against the German feudal power, the Milceni, who lived in 30 castle districts in today's Upper Lusatia, had lost their political and economic independence by 990 AD. 990. Similarly, about 30 fortified settlements belonging to the Lausitzi in Lower Lusatia were obliged to pay tribute as early as 963 AD. When the Diocese of Meissen was established, Christianization of the Sorbs began in Lusatia. Since the 13th century, German peasants and craftsmen had kept coming to the area settled by Sorbs from the Franconia Hesse, Bavaria, Thuringia and Flandern. The original Sorbian settlers suffered many unfortunate consequences. They were marginalized, repressed, inflicted with sweet bans, and were not allowed to join the craft guilds in many towns for a long time. This process accelerated the early assimilation of the Sorb. So there's the Bautzen Sorb Theatre, Berghof restaurant there, and there is the Sorb Museum. There's a nice look across the river from the Sorb Museum. The lobby at the Sorb Museum. Sorb Museum lobby. Sorbian puppet from 1880. Plate and beer picture from 1771. Okay, when the Sorbs came to this region, the economy was largely based through agriculture, livestock and trade. Centres of power were the castles, and there was a Sorb upper class, and at the head of this was the prince. So the Sorbs were subjugated in the 10th century by Henry I. Basically lived under Germanic rule. Sorb trades tools. Apparently this area was on an important trade route between Vienna and Spain. Okay, here you can see how typical Sorb villages were laid out. Now this is an Umgebinde house, a traditional type of house. See this room here is sort of like a multi-purpose kitchen, living, sleeping room. Otherwise here's just some implements from the home, which was typically connected to sort of farming activities and just household furnishings, household tools, traditional dress. So traditionally most of the Sorbs lived under a sword overlord. There are very few free farmers there. But in the 19th century that kind of system was repealed, so what happened was people tended to rely a lot on assistance from the neighbours and the community for all kinds of things, fires, tools, various types of goods. There are 11 different traditional costume regions. Now these traditional costumes were largely derived from peasant clothing. Wedding. So there's a fair bit of variation throughout regions and also Protestant as compared to Catholic Sorbs. There were differences. The Sorbs are typically deeply Christian and have their own special variants of customs, rites of passage and ceremonies. So Sorbs have their own type of bagpipe. And generally there are various folk music groups still around, practicing traditional music. This is some more traditional Sorb clothing. This is some footage taken in the 1930s. So the beginnings of Sorbian literature go back to the Reformation period. Sorb emigration. So this is the educational gallery designed to teach children about Sorb life from an early age. Sorb kids would often start very early on helping their parents with various chores. Here's some Sorb toys. And then over here is Maxie playing in the activity centre. So the Sorb fine arts movement really kicked off in the 1920s. So this is the event hall at the Sorb Museum. So Sorbs have been fighting for their basic national rights since the 19th century. Various exhibits in here talk about them trying to establish their own autonomous state. The exhibit is about the Sorbs and the Reformation. Under the Nazis. As we walk down around the river back to the hotel from the Sorb Museum. The darkest chapter of the Sorbian history started in 1933 with Hitler's coming to power. The Sorbian daily newspaper Serbski Noviny was banned on 12 April 1933 for 8 days. Then their editorial board was brought into line. Numerous protests in Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia and France made the Nazis, who initially took into account considerations for the Germans abroad, restrain their steps against the Sorbian people. From 1935, the transfer of active teachers and clergymen of both confessions from Lusatia began, reaching a climax in 1940. In 1937, the Domowina, Serbski Noviny, and almost all periodicals, whole Serbian cultural life, the use of the language in public, and also the use of the words Sorb and Wend, are actually forbidden. The so-called Wenden Danbeteling Sorb Department, 1920 to 1945, served to monitor all national and political activities and was instrumental in increasing repression of the Sorbs as a foreign ethnic minority. Just going around the boundary of the central city back to the hotel. So we're basically heading in a south-westerly direction. Over the west bank of Bautzen. And that yellowy orange building is our hotel. We're walking down Lebinnenstraße on Sunday morning, about 7:30 a.m. Now we are just west over the bridge from Bautzen. I'll just tell you a bit more about Bautzen as we walk along, some of the other towns that it was associated with. So, the 6 towns of Upper Lusatia, Bautzen, Gorlitz, Kamenz, Lobau and Loban, and Zittau concluded an alliance for the joint protection of trade routes in 1346. At that time, public peace in the region was often in danger. Upper Lusatia was a subject of desire among many sovereigns of the surrounding regions. Significant routes such as Via Regia were befallen by highwaymen. The 6-town leader was given the blessing of the late Emperor Karl IV. Under his aegis, the city experienced boom years and cultural revival. So over this bridge to the east is Bautzen city centre. So reading from some of the information I have here, life in Bautzen is characterised by 2 nationalities working and living together. For centuries the town has been inhabited not only by Germans but also Sorbs, members of the smallest Slavonic people with a rich culture and lively customs. In particular the Easter traditions, with the highlight of Easter Sunday. Horseman procession attract thousands of visitors who come to the town and its surrounds every year. Talsperre, Bautzen. So this dam is about a 15-minute drive north of Bautzen. So this is a campsite at Nimschuserstrasse in Bautzen. It's actually about 10 minutes drive from Bautzen city centre to the north. Some of the wildlife at this camping ground, which is about 10 minutes drive from Bautzen Central on the River Spree. Camping ground here. There's Mummy. So these people take the caravans and just set up. Very pleasant. There's a wide area of the River Spree. Nature walk near the campground. Very nice. This is the Richter store at the penny supermarket. You can see there's all types of small goods here. I think maybe one of these over here is Metwurst. If one is lucky. And I continue on here. Great variety. Of course, many sausages. Looks great. This is the meal we got from the Richter stall, which is, I suppose, probably a franchise that sells lots of small goods and also various basic meals. They're in the Intergarden maze of hedges, and a big one too, and it's fun. This is what it's like in the maze. Irrgarten Maze, just a short drive north of Bautzen. Man, it was fun. Totally fun. This is the second maze in the Irrgarten. Now it's not stroller friendly, so we can't do it, but I'll just show you anyway. Alright, so what we gather here, this is the third maze at the Irrgarten, is that there's these gates with different letters. Now you have to answer a question. If you get it right, you'll be led to the right place. If you're not, you may get lost in the labyrinth. Let's give it a shot. This is what it's like walking through the third maze.
Wasn't it got a snail now? Ready, Maxie? And dump it?
Now move it across.
Which way?
To the left.
The other way?
Yep.
Yeah. And dump it?
Yep, dump it.
Enough?
Yep.
Yay!
Here are a couple of Anchysauruses at the Soria Park, and this is the Jurassic era zone. A couple of Dilophosaurus here, Jurassic area. Loplorodon and Ophthalmosaurus. Loplorodon thought to be the biggest marine predator of all time. So Max is on a Cryptoclydus from the Middle Jurassic era. He seems to like the ride. Archaeopteryx and Compoganthus. This is an interesting scene because all these dinosaurs are potentially getting into their doom by going into the bog and getting trapped there. Late Jurassic. Barosaurus. Allosaurus. Stegosaurus. So this area talks a lot about evolution. Check this out down here. We've got this cool little climbing apparatus surrounded by the universe. Uh-oh. Looks like the dinosaur enclosure has been compromised. Germanic forest near Bautzen. Isn't it pretty?
This is a dinosaur forest, Daddy.
Oh, uh-oh, things aren't looking good. You better watch it. Wow, looks like we found some eggs. It's just recently hatched. Oh, dogosaur.
Whoa, a dogosaur!
And a rhinosaur. An iguanodon being attacked by a Deinonychus. Notosaurus and Tanitrophus fighting. An odd looking bunch. Jurassic to Cretaceous. Antrodemus and Camptosaurus. So Camptosaurus are the carnivores. Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus. Must be quite an effort to make this replica. Oh. And then over here there's another large one. Dinosauroid. Eight predecessors. Mammoth hunt. The legend himself, Franz Grus, he founded this park. Tarbosaurus. Monkey Man encounters Gorilla Man. The aliens. T-Rex. Ankylosaurus. Spinosaurus. The Berghoff restaurant, where they have some special asparagus dishes. Berghoff restaurant on the inside, and there's another big room just adjacent to this. So here we are at the Berghoff restaurant, which is next to the Sword Museum. So we are going to get a carafe, 500 mils of house wine up top, and then we're going to get these two dishes here, asparagus based, so it should be interesting. Asparagus with vanilla ice cream as a small starter. Berghoff dishes we ordered, classic, and then we've got this one here with baked cheese on top, asparagus based.
So here is our GPS, and Tyson bought this GPS for $59 before going to Europe, and it has worked a treat.
Moritzburg holiday spot on the way to Dresden. Holiday spots in Moritzburg. The forest at the Moritzburg holiday spot. Here we are at the Star petrol station where we filled up the Opel just there before returning it to the hire car company. 6 car rentals. So here we are, German service station. This is Dresden Town Hall. Church of Our Lady, which was rebuilt 10 years ago in Dresden. This is the Ganzerdieb statue, which means goose thief, and it's actually the restaurant of the same name to which we are going to lunch with the wolves. This is turkey liver and potatoes, and this is crepe with chicken ragu at the Goose Thief restaurant. New market, and it was largely destroyed during the war, but it's been rebuilt like a lot of Germany. It's a very beautiful place, pedestrian mall. Friedrich August, one of the kings of Saxony, here in the New Market, Dresden. One of the first Lutheran churches in Saxony. So that's the Dresden Art School. So this is a wall of the old Saxon kings in Dresden, or as I sometimes call it, because I learned it from an acquaintance, Dresdenko. So this is the River Elbe in Dresdenko. Now Annette was telling us that tributaries to this river run from mountains in the Czech Republic and Poland. Dresdenko Crow. What a big fella. Heading from the river back to the New Market through popular restaurant street. The tram in Dresden, which is a very common form of transportation. The Dresdenko Hauptbahnhof.